Sometimes your car can have the dreaded O word. And by O, we mean overhaul. We'll explain to you in as simple terms as possible what an engine overhaul actually entails and what is done when you overhaul an engine. Overhauling an engine simply means that you have to take the engine, take it all apart, and then replace some parts inside. And the parts that are almost always replaced with an overhaul are these things, the piston rings. These are the first ones to go inside the engine. As you notice, there's a bit of spring in this. So this is what seals the piston to the combustion chamber, and over time, wear and tear, and obviously this thing is operating in hundreds of degrees Celsius environment. These tend to fail and not to be as springy no more. So the actual part on a normal overhaul engine is just to replace the piston rings, which are these things. There's normally 4 of them now in a modern engine. And there's the oil ring land here, which is a bit hard to get out. I need a special pick to get it out. But these are the things that are replaced in a normally overhauled engine. This part is cheap. It's getting to it that's expensive, and the things that you have to take out and the things that gets replaced that add up to the bill. The primary cause of an engine that needs to be overhauled is number 1, old age. By old age, we mean 150,000, sometimes 200,000 kilometers. And it also depends on the engine. Yes, we have all heard stories of the Toyota that lasted 1,000,000 miles, the Mercedes-Benz engine that lasted another 1,000,000 miles, or 300,000 kilometers on the original engine on a 1990 Honda. Those are more of the exceptions rather than the norm. Normally, an engine's life here in the Philippines is anywhere from 150,000 to maybe 250,000 if you're lucky. By that time, if it's still running great, good for you, but an overhaul is not out of the question with that age of an engine. So when you overhaul an engine, these are all the parts. Actually, this is not all the parts. It's not even all the parts. This is some of the parts of a Subaru engine that we're overhauling. The engine block is not here. It's actually in the machine shop. What adds up to the cost of the overhaul are things like this. When you overhaul the engine, you need new gaskets for this, new gaskets for that. All the rubber here gets replaced. There, rubber seals. Everything gets replaced, and this is also a good time to check for wear items like this is an engine mount, if it's already soft or not. This is apparently still in pretty good condition. And then it's also a time for a general cleaning. You clean everything. This is the valve cover, you clean the gunk off the camshafts, you clean the gunk off here. This is the timing chain cover. This one we just freshly cleaned, so this seal has to be replaced as well. So all of the little things do add up. That's what makes a overhaul expensive. How do you know if your car needs an overhaul? The usual classic signs are number 1, white smoke coming out of the exhaust. That simply means that the piston ring isn't doing its job anymore. So the oil, which is normally should be here, goes up to the combustion chamber here, and then it gets burned. When oil burns, it's usually a white smoke that comes out. So goes out the tailpipe, white smoke. When you pull up the dipstick, white smoke comes out of that one. That's a sure sign that you already need an overhaul. Baleado, it's not idling properly, it's not idling correctly, it's idling pretty rough, the engine is shaking a lot. That's a sign, but not necessarily an overhaul. Overheating is another sign that may or may not be a complete overhaul. There is such a thing as a top overhaul where only the cylinder head part have a compression test done. That's another pretty much sure way to figure out if your car needs an overhaul or not. It may or may not be caused by the piston ring. It could also be caused by the valve is not shutting off, the clearance is off, and then among other things, head problems, but at least it eliminates some of the possible things that might cause an overhaul. Don't be scared of the word overhaul. Like I said, it is not a death sentence, it's not a person. An engine can always be rebuilt. It's just a matter of time and money. Car has sentimental value to you. Somebody drove it through a flood. You can't part with it. Engine needs an overhaul. Not a problem. It can always be brought back to its former glory if you want to. Yes, it's stressful. Yes, it's annoying. Yes, it's a drain on your wallet. But unlike a person going to a hospital, the car can always be resuscitated back to life.